Have you ever felt your heart race when you wanted to speak up? That moment when your mind is full of thoughts, but your voice feels trapped? Well, you're not alone. Shyness isn't a flaw, it's not a weakness, it's just a starting point. And many of us have started our lives or our journeys at work or even in personal areas being shy. And there's nothing wrong about it. First, let's clear something up. Being shy is not something to feel guilty about, it's not something to feel low about. It is simply unused confidence which is waiting to be activated. There are so many people who used to be shy or who have admitted to being shy. We talk about a lot of great people in the media, in the different industries, people who have been immensely successful in life. Yet, when they started out on their journeys, they were very shy. Now, one has to overcome the shyness over time in order to express themselves freely. Now, confidence isn't about being the loudest person in the room. Some people are confident, but they may not be able to express themselves. So, you need to start small. You need to take a tiny step. That tiny step of speaking up or expressing yourself in a meaningful manner so that people are able to understand what you need or what you want. Otherwise, a common issue with a lot of people suffering from, I'm using the word suffering, but what I really mean is experiencing shyness is that they never get to express themselves. They, often have a lot of insecurities and are in self doubt, and that's definitely not a good thing. When you're in a meeting or you're amongst people, try and have eye contact. Looking at somebody with a small, smile is not wrong. It doesn't get out or give out a wrong message. It just helps you express yourself. Now, typically, when you're in a meeting or a gathering, there would be some people who are loud, expressive, slightly dominating. They are the ones who do not allow or give space to others to speak. You can't really blame them for being extrovert. You can't really blame them for being expressive. That's just the way they are. But that really doesn't mean that you start feeling intimidated or you start considering yourself as incomplete or have a low feeling. While I understand if that is something which you go through sometimes, because I've seen a lot of people. I used to be very shy at one point in time, and there are a lot of people who come to me who tell me that they feel shy, they feel awkward, they feel unheard of, even if they want to, say something. They cannot muster up the courage to do so. But let me tell you that you have to make an effort. See, please understand that while being shy is not a weakness, but continuing to remain shy is just not allowing yourself to get enough opportunities to put through your thoughts or express yourself. And sometimes when we do not express ourselves, then over a period of time, it so happens that our value or our importance gets a little blurred, diluted. People start making decisions on our behalf because we are not giving them an opportunity to know or understand what we like or what we don't. And the worst part, we have to live with the hard choices. The ones that we never made in the first place. But just because we couldn't express ourselves, somebody else was making it for us. And that is not a good thing to go on with. So, Instead of feeling insecure, instead of feeling incomplete or small, why not make some small efforts to try and overcome this shyness? I'm Chandra Ganguly. I'm a graphologist. A lot of people come to me when they need help in understanding their personality, when they need support in creating or exploring the better version of themselves. Having dealt with so many different types of people over so many years, there's certain things which I've learned, and that's what I'm here to share with you. First of all, you have to understand and be very clear about your own thoughts. What is it that you like? What are the things that you don't like? You may as well pick up a diary and a pen and start jotting them down. Don't make it too complicated. Just maybe the first 4 or 5 points or the thoughts which are coming to your mind. Jot them down. Sit back and understand. Read them again and again. And try and figure out what is it that you're lacking. Is it information about a subject or a topic that you need to speak about? Is it that you know the subject but you just can't express yourself? Is it that you can express yourself but you're too unsure about what others will think of you? Once you've done this, you must start taking tiny steps. The first step, eye contact. When you look at people in the eye before you start speaking, you immediately have their attention. If it's a one-to-one, you just look at the person sitting right across you. If you are in a group, then you try and look at people, give a glance or two at most of them, if not all of them at the same time. If you're addressing a group, then you must shift your vision from one side to the other while you speak so that you have everybody's attention. Once you've done that, the next thing is to wear a smile. A smile is that magic curve, which can illuminate, it can brighten any situation. Of course, you'll have to understand what is the ambient, condition. I mean, where are you right now? Pardon me for saying, but if you're at a funeral, you can't possibly be smiling. Or if you're dealing with something which is like an emergency, you can't possibly be seen smiling. But yes, if it's a casual conversation, if it's a normal discussion, you can smile a bit. And a small smile, grin, does no harm. Okay, now that you've made eye contact and you've smiled, you start speaking. Speak slowly, in short sentences. Use a couple of phrases. We all, have liking or affinity towards using certain phrases or expressions, especially, during our school days when we've, responded to the teachers or when we've written our examinations. There are certain idioms, adages, or phrases that we normally like to use. You might use some of them if you wish that they're appropriate. It doesn't matter which language you're speaking in. You could be communicating in Bangla, in Hindi, in English, in Spanish or German or any other language. But what is important is that when you speak, you must speak slowly, clearly, and meaningfully. So the more you do that, you get heard. And in case you're too afraid to step out there and start that conversation, You can do it in your room, in front of a mirror. You can just look at yourself in the mirror and you can start speaking. Pick up a topic, a subject of your choice, and start speaking with your eye contact in place. You'll be surprised the moment you start doing that. You will realize that there are, very unique qualities that you have, and there are certain ways and means in which you can change. Maybe sometimes your expression, your eye movement, the way you smile, the way you look. And the more often you do that, it will become that much easier for you to accept the way you are seen in public. Once you've spoken to the mirror, when you start speaking to anything or anybody else in the room. Funny, huh? You may look at the chairs and consider that they are your audience, the table, the phones, and you can just start speaking. See, there's no shame or there's no harm if you do that. Because you're just understanding yourself better, because the more you speak and you speak to everything and everyone around you, the more you understand how well you know the subject you're speaking about and how well you would be accepted. Because when you start speaking your mind, certain questions get raised. And that's most normal. So sometimes, you start speaking about something and then you start automatically, generating questions for yourself. And that's when you realize that you might have to read a little more. You may have to express yourself a little better. Sometimes you need to take a pause, think. And then there are times when you just need to go and say it. When you do this over a period of time, it becomes way much simpler to address an audience. But the important part is that you must speak meaningfully. You must understand what you are discussing, the subject, the topic, and you should have enough knowledge. The last thing that you want is that you get into a conversation and somebody just breaks right in and stops you right there. So, knowledge about your subject is very important. We try and help people overcome their shyness using scientific techniques like graphology, where we use their handwriting, to analyze them. And we also suggest changes through which they can bring about positive changes in themselves. Because handwriting is brainwriting. But this particular post is not just about changing yourself through handwriting. It is to bring about an overall change, which is very much possible if you make tweaks in the way you write. Shyness is not a weakness. Turn it into your strength. Be confident. Make a mark for yourself. There's no stopping when you decide what's best for you. If you need support, guidance, information, and techniques to overcome your shyness and gain confidence, reach out to us. Our details are available with this video. Subscribe to the channel and click that bell icon. I'm sure you wouldn't like to miss the next episode. Thank you.